Hey guys, thank you for tuning into my channel. Much appreciated. But before we get started for week number 16 and our NFL predictions, as well as who's going to get in the end zone, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button and leave your comments below. Much appreciated. Anyway, we got a lot of big games coming up this weekend, and we're going to have to get it right. It's now becoming the playoff push. With just a few weekends left, it's now crunch time in the NFL, and who's going to step up? Which teams are going to take that next step to solidifying themselves before the playoffs? So let's begin with the Thursday night. And before we begin, let me just say this. We're going to do things a little bit different. My whiteboard is only going to include just the playoff scenario teams. Okay, these are teams that are fighting for playoff positions. So my whiteboard's going to be different. I'm not going to ignore the other games. I'll let you know what I'm predicting for those games, okay? But I want to concentrate my whiteboard on just the playoff scenario type games, okay? So let's begin with the Thursday night game, and it's a huge one. The Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. LA Rams at Seattle. This is going to be a good game. I'm looking forward to this one. I'm sure a lot of NFL fans are. And this is going to be a game that I think is going to be a defensive battle. I think the injury to Devontae Adams for the Rams, don't know his status for Thursday night. Remember, these are the early odds that I'm bringing to you. So Devontae Adams suffered his hamstring injury during the victory against the Detroit Lions. But if it's not that serious and he's good to go, this might help the Rams get some points on that board against this tough Seattle defense. I think the Seahawks are playing fantastic defense all year round. They're tough. They're tough to score upon. But I just think the experience of Matt Stafford might get it done this Thursday night. But yet again, it's so funny that I'm picking the Seattle Seahawks as the money line. I'm going to go under with the 44 and a half points, and I'm going to go with the plus 1.5. Obviously, the Seahawks are going to be the underdogs going into this game. And this is going to be a tough one simply because I feel like Seattle has this fantastic defense, okay? I also feel that Matt Stafford's the more experienced guy. And I just feel that Matt Stafford, Kyron Williams, and Blake Corum are going to have to be part of this offense to get it done, okay? I just think that they're going to have to run the ball. And if they're successful running the ball, it's going to open up the passing lanes for Puka Nacua, as well as the tight ends, and Tutu Atwell is back, so that might help. But Terrence Ferguson, guys like that. For the Seattle, you know, Sam Darnold has a history of not getting it done in crunch time when it comes to the big games. And that's a problem that I have. However, I'm going to roll with the Seahawks because it just seems that this season has been strange. Now, conventional wisdom will tell me that the Rams are the better team. They are in first place. They have a better offense. Sure. But they're running into a tough Seattle defense. Okay. This defense, they're tough to score on. And I just feel that the Rams are going to have a tough time up in Seattle, 12th man. It possibly might rain. You might be missing Devontae Adams. I'm going to give the edge to the Seahawks. So I'm going to moneyline the Seahawks. I'm going to go with the under 44 and a half. I just think it's going to be somewhere around 24-20, possibly type game, right? And I'm going to go with the plus 1.5 because the Seahawks are the underdogs in this game. You could go with the Rams. You could probably take the over and go with the minus 1.5. But I'm going the opposite simply because of the fact that it's in Seattle. That's all it is, just the home field advantage of it. Now, touchdowns in this game, look for Blake Corum to continue his hot hand, maybe Kyron Williams. Obviously, Puka's always a threat to get in the end zone. And then for the Seattle Seahawks, we need to see Jackson Najigba, okay, get in the end zone, all right, Najigba Smith. We need to see him in the end zone. He hasn't been in the end zone for quite some time. Don't know if he scored last weekend. I need to check that. But he's a guy that is going to probably Sam Darnold will be looking a lot to this weekend. Rashid Shaheed, if that's his name, Rashid Shaheed, right? Um, new addition to Seattle's receiving unit, is starting to pick up the pace more. He's starting to get acclimated. I think he's another guy that could get in the end zone. I love Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker to do some damage there, okay? Now, I don't want to spend too much time talking about this game as much as I want. I'm just going to tell you that the money line's going to go for the Seahawks for me with the under of 44.5 and that plus 1.5. But that's just me. If you want to go the opposite way, you can do that as well. There's nothing wrong with that. I think this is a game that if I was betting, I might stay away from as far as the spread and maybe who's going to win. Maybe take the over and under. I feel comfortable with that under, okay? 24-20 type game, right? But anyway, big game this Thursday night. That's my pick. Let's move on to the next game. We have the Eagles at the Commanders. Okay. Don't want to spend too much time in this game. I'm going to money line the Eagles. Okay. I'm taking the money line on the Eagles. I'm going to take the over of 44.5. I'm also going to take the plus 6.5. Again, it's a divisional game between two opponents. One disappointment in the Washington Commanders. I really thought they would have a better season. Jaden Daniels' injury kind of ruined all of that. Look for touchdowns from Ja'Cory Merritt, who calls himself Bill. Maybe Terry McLaurin is finally starting to wake up out there. Maybe Deebo Samuel. But I think the Eagles should be able to hang. This game should be able to be a tough game for the Eagles yet again. But I think the Eagles will get scoring from Saquon Barkley, Dallas Goedert. Look for A.J. Brown again, Devontae Smith. Seems like the Eagles are starting to develop that passing game. And even though they played the Raiders last week, they managed to blow out the Raiders 31-0. Maybe they're finally getting something going. But keep in mind, it was against the Raiders and not the Commanders, who are a much better team. But this game will be close. Anyway, money line the Eagles, take the over 44.5. And take the plus 6.5. I think the Commanders should be able to hang in there with an offense that's starting to get going. But remember, it was against the Raiders. This is a better team than the Commanders. All right, let's move on. We have the Packers at the Chicago Bears. This is another good game. Now, tough injury to Micah Parsons of the Green Bay Packers. Wow, what a tough loss. Comes at the worst time as you're positioning yourself to the playoffs. This is the type of game that you needed Micah Parsons to be in. Okay. This is what he signed up for. This is why that trade was made early in the year, to get Micah Parsons to give them that edge in games like this. Now, with that said, I'm still going to take the Packers in this game. I'm money lining the Packers. I'm taking the over of 46.5. And I'm also going to take the minus 1.5 because, after all, the Packers are favored in this game. That's so funny that Vegas did that, right? They just want to even out the money. Now, let's talk about this game a little bit, all right? For the Green Bay Packers, losing Micah was tough. I still think they're a good enough defense, especially in the secondary, that they could cause problems for Caleb Williams, okay? Caleb Williams is having a fantastic season. The Bears, I thought, were a year or two away of getting, to become a serious contender. Obviously, they overshot that, and they're ready now. This is a good football team, a good running game of Kyle Monaghay, right? Kyle Monaghay and DeAndre Swift. Okay, they're going to have to rely on these guys. And also, as touchdown parlays, you can take one of those two guys, as well as, I believe, Roman Unduze is coming back. I think Luther Burden could be a guy. Cole Kmet, Colston Loveland. How about that catch that DJ Moore had against the Cleveland Browns? Those would be my touchdown parlays. Again, Caleb Williams is having a fantastic year, right? Under the tutelage of Ben Johnson. He's got these guys in position to possibly win the division or position themselves as a top wild card seed. As we see right now, the Packers, the loss of Micah Parsons could put the Bears in that advantage. But again, I'm going with the experience of Jordan Love. I'm going with Josh Jacobs, okay, to get the ball into that end zone and run hard this weekend, okay. The receiving unit, Christian Watson obviously got hurt against Denver last week. They should have won that game. Maybe Micah Parsons' injury kind of shifted that game, At least there was a play. I mean, the Packers had a 22-14 lead against one of the top defenses in the league. Unfortunately, that bad interception late in that game turned the tide, and next thing you know, Green Bay lost. But anyway, they managed to put up points against a tough defensive team in the Denver Broncos. I expect them to do the same against the Chicago Bears and to eke this win out. Yes, eke it out. It's going to be close. That's why you see that -1.5. A field goal probably wins it, or a 2-point conversion wins it. Go with the Packers, money line it, go with the over of 46.5 and take that -1.5. Okay. Now, if you're a Chicago Bears fan, or you know how the season's been going with the NFL, who knows if the Bears come back and win this game. But right now, I feel comfortable with Green Bay. Let's go to the next game. We have the Chargers at the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored by 1.5. Listen, this is a tough LA Chargers defense. This is a tough Chargers defense. I love what Jim Harbaugh is doing with the LA Chargers. Again, it's a Justin Herbert offense. Now they get on Marion Hampton back. They got Vidal at the running back position as well. The wide receiving units, obviously Lad McConkey. I don't know if Quentin Johnson is going to recover on time to play in this game, but if he does play, that's a plus. They do have other multiple weapons in Keenan Allen. Let's see how Rondé Gatson can show up for this game, all right? Fantastic tight end. So those guys would be basically your touchdown parlays. Just pick either one of those guys. They should get it done at Dallas. Obviously, the Cowboys with their offense, they're just a phenomenal offense. They scored, I think they're averaging like 29 points per game, which is fantastic if you really think about it, right? You know, you have Pickens, you have CeeDee Lamb, you have Ryan Flournoy, a guy who's coming around and he's starting to produce. Jake Ferguson, I think, will be able to play for this game. Obviously, Javonte Williams, I should say. Sorry about that. Javonte Williams, fantastic year for him. He's a tough guy. He's always good for a touchdown. So I'm throwing out those touchdown parlays first. But as far as the game goes and its playoff implications, I don't think Dallas is going to make the playoffs. I really don't. I don't see that happening. They really need a lot of help and a miracle to get in. Look for the Chargers, money line it, take the under 49.5, and take that +1.5. They are the underdogs, obviously, the Chargers. And I think a lot of money is possibly going to get evened out there in Vegas. So this could be an honest bet for a lot of amateur sports bettors. I feel comfortable with my picks. I threw out those touchdown parlays. So let's move on to the next game. We got the Vikings at the Giants. I really don't want to spend time on this. I think the Vikings win. I think that -2.5. I love the way they played against Dallas this past Sunday night. They went out there with J.J. McCarthy. If he plays like that again, this could be one of those games where they just flat out beat the Giants straight up. Giants, well, they're just going through the season right now. A lot of, those injuries early on with Cam Scatterbo, Malik Neighbors, starting to take its toll. They still, however, have some guys that could get in the end zone. Wan'Dale Robinson, Theo Johnson, Daniel Bellinger, Darius Slayton. Okay, Jackson Dart continues to play like a linebacker at quarterback, and that's always something to watch for. He could get into the end zone by running. You got Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. Those are the touchdown parlays I would look at. For the Vikings, obviously, Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, TJ Hawkinson, right? Those would be your touchdown parlays for the Vikings. But I'm going to money line the Vikings, okay? I'm going to take that over a 43.5. Yet another game that could be 24-20. And we're going to take that -2.5. So, yeah, the Vikings are the favorites for this game. So let's roll with the Vikings. Let's move on to the next game. We got the Bills at Browns. Yet another game I don't want to spend too much time. Very impressive victory for the Buffalo Bills this past weekend against the New England Patriots. Obviously, they're led by the MVP in my book in the AFC with Josh Allen. So I think the Bills are rolling now. I think they're getting the sense that, hey, because we still could be in a position to get that AFC East. I love the way they came back after being down 21-zip against New England. Um, Cleveland Browns, the struggle is going to be there with Shador, right? He's going to play out the rest of the season. The Browns want to see what they have in the future. Um, he played well against the Titans and then, just bottomed out against the Bears. I'm not saying he didn't play good. I'm just saying that these are the steps Shador has to take to become next level quarterback. He's not there yet, and that's why we're going to money line the Buffalo Bills. They're the favorites. We're going to take the over of 42.5. I think most of the points come from the Bills. Watch for Myles Garrett to possibly break the record this weekend. Okay, the sack record, I should say. And then we're going to take that minus. I believe they are favored 10.5. Okay, let me just alert my sports bettors out there. Okay, first of all, let me give you the touchdown parlays. Look for James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, Khalil Shakir. Let's look for the Browns, maybe Quinyon Junkins, maybe Jerry Jeudy, or Harold Fannin, right? That's his name, Fannin or Fanini. Those would be my guys for touchdown parlays for the Browns. But I really don't see the Browns winning its game at all. Well, I believe all the money's going to roll to the Bills. I don't want to spend too much time in this game. But I also believe that this is not upset alert, but upset spread alert. Minus 10.5. I'm going to roll with it. I'm taking the Bills straight through, okay, as the money line, the minus 10.5, and the over 42.5. Most of the points coming from the Bills. But I got to tell you, you know how Vegas rolls? When all the money rolls on one team, what do? They turn around, and the Bills might win the game, but they may not cover. So be aware of that. All right, guys, let's go to the next one. Really a game, the battle for top 5. I don't know. This game is going to be sloppy at best. Jets at Saints. I believe that's the game, right? Jets at Saints. Saints are favored. We're going to money line the Saints. We're going to take the under 40.5. Really not that much scoring between these two teams, I don't think. And we're going to take that plus 4.5 only because I think the Saints coming off a huge victory. They're going to come back down a little bit. They're playing the Jets, and this game's going to be a struggle offensively. If you're looking for touchdown parlays between these two teams, don't do it. I really don't know who's going to score for either team. They really are struggling on offense, both these teams. Although I give a little bit of the edge on the Saints offensively with Chris Olaf. Maybe that's the only guy to pick. Maybe Breece Hall. That's it. Let's move on from this game, all right? So we're going to money line the Saints, take the under 40.5 and the plus 4.5. I think the Jets will hang in there, but let's move on from this game. All right, the next game, we got yet another big game and another battle for the division. Guys, we have the Buccaneers at the Carolina Panthers. Just like I always said throughout the season, I don't know what you're going to get from the Carolina Panthers. This team is really one of those teams that really bothers me. 1 week they're up, 1 week they're down. They're very inconsistent offensively. 1 week they're basically Jekyll and Hyde. I kept saying this throughout the season to you guys. This is a tough team to always take every weekend. Now looking at this game, I'm a money line the Buccaneers. I'm gonna take the under of 45.5. I don't think that much scoring might happen this weekend, even though I've seen the Buccaneers put up points, and I've also seen the Panthers put up points. But I'm going to take the -3 with the Buccaneers. This game could either be a push at the end of the weekend or a tie. But I'm going to take the -3. I think the Buccaneers cover. Just too many weapons for the Buccaneers for the Panthers to handle. And I will go with Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Emeka Ibuka. I don't know if Mike Evans is going to be playing in this game. I know he had a couple of injuries against Atlanta. What a tough loss against the Falcons. That was just horrible. And I think they bounce back. I think they're pissed. They've been losing lately. I think the Buccaneers come back and pour it on against the Carolina Panthers. Only two guys from the Panthers that I'll take for touchdowns is going to be Rico Dowdle and Ted McMillan. That's about it, guys. Those are my touchdown parlays for this game. Yet again, to explain it to you, this Jekyll and Hyde attitude that the Panthers are having every weekend, week out is so disappointing because the division was kind of handed to them after Atlanta beat the Buccaneers, and they did not take advantage of it. Tells you a lot about the Panthers. I don't think they pull out this victory. They're going to be fired up. It's going to be a close game. But look for the Buccaneers to win and cover that spread of -3 and take the under 45.5. I just think the Buccaneers defense is going to play better. All right, let's move on from this game. Now we got the Bengals at the Miami Dolphins, guys. Yet I don't want to spend too much time. I'm just going to tell you that touchdown parlays from Jamar Chase, Chase Brown, and for the Dolphins, Devon A-Chain and Jalen Waddle. They're coming off a tough loss against Pittsburgh. Again, the quarterback play from Tua was the difference in that game. He just played horrific. He's been doing that for the last few years. I don't know why Miami continues to hang on to this guy. And look, guys, you know, I'm gonna take. As funny as I said that, I'm gonna take the Miami Dolphins. They are the favorites, believe it or not. I'm a money line the Dolphins. I'm gonna take the over 50.5. Actually, yeah. I mean, you could go with the under. I mean, the way Tua's playing, I don't know where they're going to score points, but Devon A-Chain, Jalen Waddle, and Darren Waller, they're pretty good players. We're going to take that -1.5. I was shocked that the Bengals got shut out last weekend with all the talent that they got. But I think that Joe Burrow talk where he's not having fun is really starting to play into this. And this is why I'm going to take the Dolphins despite their loss to the Steelers, despite the Bengals with all the talent they got getting shut out against the Ravens. I think as a sports bettor, you could do either one. I think the money's going to stay even in this game. So take the Dolphins as the favorites, money line it. I'm only taking the over because I just feel like once the Bengals begin to score, I think Miami and Devon A-Chain are going to try to keep that Bengals offense off the field and take the -1.5. I mean, I can't really talk too much about that game. It's going to be a sloppy game, guys, and a sloppy bet. All right, let's go to the next game. You got the Chiefs at the Titans. Guys, we lost Patrick Mahomes. It's the end of the Chiefs dynasty run for the moment. I think the Chiefs being out of the playoffs is going to be a relief to the Buffalo Bills and other teams that are going to be heading into the playoffs. I always felt that if the Chiefs were going to get into the playoffs, they were going to be a problem, but they won't. They got eliminated last week, and they also lost Patrick Mahomes for the season with a torn ACL. I believe that's what it was. He'll be back next year. Different mindset. And maybe it's a good thing. They've been playing almost 20 games for the past 5 seasons. Okay, this is a tired group, and they showed it this year. So kudos to the Chiefs for that little mini dynasty that they were doing in the AFC. But they are the favorites for this game. We're going to take the Chiefs. We're going to money line it. We're going to take the over of 37.5. I think it was a little down simply because Patrick wasn't playing. You got Gardner Minshew at quarterback. By the way, the guy comes in. All he had to do was drive them to field goal range and kick a tying field goal. And maybe the Chiefs, maybe they could have pulled it out. But even if they had won that game without Patrick, that would have been rough. But anyway, we're going to go with the under of 37.5. And we're going to take that -3.5. I just think that the Titans will hang in there, but I think the Chiefs should be able to win by 7 in this game or maybe by 10. I'm not really thrilled with Cam Ward, even though he's a rookie. Very inconsistent at times at the quarterback position. The offense does struggle. I think Tony Pollard and what's that kid's name? Eric Alumana, right? Or Cheeky Deaky, the wide receiver. I believe that's his name. Listen, no mean to be disrespectful, but they got the weirdest names at the wide receiver position. Seriously, guys. But those would be maybe my touchdown parlays, but I don't see these guys getting in the end zone. Look, they had to use a defensive lineman last week to get a touchdown. Okay, as far as the Chiefs, this could be one of those games where you're going to see high numbers in receiving and rushing. I just think that the Chiefs really are going to play loose. Their season's already over. They've been eliminated. There's really no pressure. I think they'll play a whole lot better because of that. So, yeah, money line the Chiefs. Take the under of 37.5 and take that -3.5. Okay, let's move on. Okay, we have the Jaguars at the Denver Broncos. Wow, this is a great matchup this weekend. Battle for what could be an upcoming rematch down the road in the playoffs. But guys, Sunshine at quarterback, Trevor Lawrence against this Denver defense is not going to get it done. Listen. Everything seems to be Denver to win this game, right? I'm money line Denver, right? I got the Broncos to money line. I got the under 45.5 because of their defense, and Jaguars are good at defense too. So this could be an under game, 24-20 yet again. And I'm going to take that -3. I think the Broncos cover by at least 10 points or 7. This is going to be a tough battle. There's going to be a lot of hitting in this game. Touchdown parlays, maybe Travis Etienne. Take one guy that Denver might lose sight of, Tim Patrick. Good wide receiver, maybe Parker Washington. Brian Thomas, he's starting to come around, but I just think that the Jaguars, as far as offensively, they're going to struggle in this game, and you're going to see it. I think if Trevor's going to be that guy that's going to take the next step, this would be the game for him to prove that, but I don't think so. I think Denver with Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims, they even added little Jordan Humphrey, right? The ex-Giant, who's playing well. This guy's a big target, too. He's 6'4", 220. Then you got guys like R.J. Harvey, right? I just think Denver's offense is a little bit too much for that Jaguars defense, especially when they played a much softer offense in the Jets. Now they're going to get a tougher offense to play against. And this is why I always hate when good teams play bad teams, and then the following weekend they got to play a better team. And history will always show that those teams do not play well. So take the Denver Broncos, money line it. All right, I already told you the touchdown parlays. Take the under 45.5 and take that -3. All right, let's go on now to the Atlanta Falcons at the Cardinals yet again. Falcons are favored. Money line the Falcons, okay? Take the over 47.5 and take the -2.5 for the Falcons. I think the Falcons win. Very impressive against Tampa Bay, but they should have been doing this all season long with all the talent they got. I don't want to spend too much time in this game. I think the touchdowns will come from Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, finally. They're getting the ball to Kyle Pitts. As far as the Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett's going to throw the ball all around the place. Look for Trey McBride yet again. Michael Wilson maybe at the wide receiver position, who's played well since replacing Marvin Harrison Jr. So let's move on from that game. Okay. Tough game coming up. You have the Pittsburgh Steelers coming off a solid win against the Miami Dolphins. Going up to Detroit, I don't know if TJ Watt's going to play, but I would suggest the Steelers not to play him. Give him one more week. I don't see the Steelers winning this game. I know that the over and under is going to be somewhere around 50.5. I mean, are they expecting the Steelers to put up 27 points or something like that? I don't know. I mean, for me, for the Steelers to win this game, they will have to run the ball and every now and then take their shots downfield. But for Detroit, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the shit out of the ball. Jamar Gibbs and David Montgomery, that's the type of game that's expected against this poor run defense of Pittsburgh. No TJ Watt. I expect the Lions to run all day. That -7, wow, that's a tough one. It's kind of high for me, but I also think that Detroit's going to win this game by 10. Despite the impressive win for the Pittsburgh Steelers against Miami, that was against Miami. It was a quarterback of Tua. Now you're going up against Jared Goff, just a better quarterback, better offense. Listen, too many weapons on the lines. You can pick and choose who's going to get in the end zone this week. As far as the Steelers, the only guy I can only trust getting in the end zone is either DK Metcalf or Jalen Warren, right? This is a tough one, but I'm a money line the Lions, right? I'm going to take the under 50.5. I think all the points are coming from Detroit. That -7 seems about right. So we're going to stick with that. And let's move on. You got the Raiders at the Texans, and they have the Texans to win -14.5. Okay, here's the problem I have with this. It's not like the Texans' offense is explosive, but it's also not like the Raiders' defense is stopping anyone. And this is a tough one for sports bettors. This is a game I would stay away from. Um, they played real shitty last week, the Raiders. I mean, that's expected. Kenny Pickett's at quarterback. Uh, really a first round bust so far. Guys bouncing around the league from the Steelers to the Eagles, Browns, now with the Raiders. This is Texans all the way through. Money's going to roll to the Texans. Again, Vegas is going to trip you up. I'm taking the Texans as the money line. I'm taking the under of 37.5. I don't expect that much offense. If anything, it's going to come from the Texans. That defense is just too tough. The Texans' defense is just too tough. That 14.5, I just think it's going to be a plus 14.5. I think too much money is rolling right now towards the Texans. I think this is a game that maybe the Texans already have chalked it up as a win. That could be very dangerous. Do I sense an upset here? Guys, I'm going to warn you right now. That was a terrible loss by the Raiders. And the only way to make that up is to come back, play a whole lot better, and stick it to the Texans' playoff drive. Like, really put a wrench in their playoff drive. Right now, they're in contention with the Colts to get into the wild card, and they really need this game. It would be a mistake for the Texans to take the Raiders lightly, even though that's a shit team. I'm going to take that plus 14.5. So I'm a money line the Texans. I'm going to take the under of 37.5. And I'm going to take that plus 14.5 for the Raiders. Touchdowns, Woody Marks, Nico Collins for the Texans. For the Raiders, it's going to be Ashton GNT or Brock Bowers. But this is a scary game. So be careful for upset alert here. And guys, now we do another good game. We have the New England Patriots coming off a bad loss to the Buffalo Bills, heading up to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, everyone's going to say, you know what? Ravens were impressive against the Bengals, but yet again, they played a team not as good as the opponent they're going to play now. They beat up on the Bengals, 24-zip. I don't know how they managed to shut out the Bengals because it's not like the Ravens' defense is any good, okay? They did lose to the Steelers the previous week, and then they go to Cincinnati. I was expecting a shootout, and they ended up winning the game by shutting out the Bengals. That was a surprise to me. Now they get the New England Patriots, a much better opponent, and this is why I'm going to take the Patriots as the money line. As far as the Patriots, 21-zip lead against the Buffalo, and then they just blow it in the second half. This comes back to what I was saying earlier in the year. Patriots were handed a much better schedule than the rest of the league, an easier schedule. I don't know what's easy in the NFL anymore, but they were handed that schedule. It's not their fault. They're not the ones that make up that schedule. It's what's in front of them. They beat up their opponents. They were doing everything correctly until that second half. And it was almost like it kind of felt like, okay, we met our match and we got overwhelmed in the second half. Now, we remember New England beating Buffalo early in the year, but I guess they got served a little revenge there, right? A cold dish, you might say. And Buffalo showed that when the game counts, the better team's going to win. Buffalo was the better team, and I think they still are the better team. Okay? But now the Patriots are going to head to Baltimore. This is yet another test for the New England Patriots. I think they should be able to pass. I don't think the Ravens are good enough yet to be beating a team like the Patriots. Okay? Patriots are a much disciplined team. I think they're going to struggle in this game. Patriots are the underdog. I'm going to take the money line Patriots. I am going to take the over 47.5. I think this should be a game somewhere around 27-23, maybe more. I'm going to take the plus 2.5. Obviously, you're taking the Patriots. They're the underdogs. I don't know how the Ravens got picked to be the favorites in this game. Maybe Vegas knows something I don't know. But when I look at this game, for the Ravens to win, they got to run Derrick Henry. I don't know what's going on. It seems like every week this guy gets like 8-9 touches, runs for 70 yards, gets in the end zone once in a while, and yet they get away from him and they lose games. And I think this is another example of it. I think they're going to start off running the ball, throwing the ball to the tight ends, Lamar running around, doing what he does. And they're going to end up losing this game because for some reason they take Derrick Henry out. They forget to run the ball and run down that clock. And the Patriots, led by what could be an MVP season for Drake May, and he's going to beat them. So, touchdowns will come from maybe Drake May, maybe the two running backs in Stevenson and Travion Henderson. Mac Hollins is going to be a sleeper in this game. I think Kayshon Boutte, Kyle Williams, Stephon Diggs. For the Ravens, it's the usual suspects: Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Rashad Bateman. I don't know why Zay Flowers doesn't get in the end zone as much, but I just think this is one of those games where the Patriots rebound. They're going to go into a hostile environment because the Ravens need this game to stay in contention with the Steelers. This is a tough one to pick. I really struggled with this one, but I'm going to take the Patriots because I feel they're a better team. They're well coached. Okay, so I'm money lining them, and again, I'm going to take the under of 47.5. No, the over of 47.5. Should be a high scoring game, but I'm going to take the plus 2.5. I think it'll come down to a final 1 point victory for the Patriots or something. That was a tough one to pick. You could go either way, guys. You could take the Ravens; they're the favorites, and run it through. But I'm just going to go with the Patriots. I just feel they're the better team. They're well coached, and that's how you got to go with it. And now the final game, yet another tough game. You got the 49ers heading to the Indianapolis Colts, led by 44-year-old Philip Rivers, who played, in my estimation, a good game considering he was out of football for 5 years. He did what he could. Listen, they should have won that game at Seattle. That was a disappointment that the Colts defense allowed Seattle to drive down and get that last second field goal. But I thought Phillip played well. He had that short passing game going. The defense was playing excellent against that Seattle offense. Jonathan Taylor is starting to get his momentum back. This is a Jonathan Taylor game. But with that said, I'm picking the 49ers. I'm going to money line the 49ers. I'm going to take the over. I believe it's the over. No, right? I'm going to take. Ooh, let me see. Let me just see my surprise here. No, I'm going to take the under 46.5. And I'm going to take the plus 6.5 as well. So I think the Colts are going to stay tight. I think this is a game where the Colts are going to hang in there. Jonathan Taylor, it's at home. You got Phillip Rivers, who did not play poorly. He played very well, okay, considering. I think he's going to keep them in the game. I think this is the Jonathan Taylor type game. Tyler Warren, if these guys get hot, they could be able to win this game. But I'm money line the 49ers. I'm taking the under 40, I believe it's 46.5, and I'm going to take that plus 5.5. Touchdowns, obviously, Christian McCaffrey, CMC, George Kittle, Jawan Jennings. Those are my touchdown parlays from them. For the Colts, look for Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren's got to get back to, they got to feature him more. And I think they got away from that these last couple of weeks. But anyway, that's a tough game, and I think that's going to wrap it up for this weekend. I gave you my touchdown parlays as I went through. Now I'm going to show you guys my whiteboard, but the whiteboard is only going to show teams in the playoff scenario. It's not going to show anything else, no other games, right? We spoke about the other games, so I'm not going to plaster that all over my whiteboard, okay? It's now playoff time. This is the playoff run now where we separate the pretenders and the contenders. So let me just show you the whiteboard. Let me pause this for a sec. As you can see right there, that's my whiteboard. We're doing it a little bit different this weekend. All right, you can see my money lines are the Seahawks, Packers, Chargers, Buccaneers, Broncos, and the Lions. All right, so those are the games that I'm running with this weekend. Okay, and there you're going to have the final two games. We're running with the Patriots and the 49ers. By the way, people, happy holidays to all of you. Safe holidays, okay? All right. Well, guys, there you have it. Those are my predictions for week number 16. what more can I say? It's now time to start getting ready for the playoffs. Teams are going to try to position themselves. Some teams have been eliminated, like the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys, I believe, are going to be eliminated or fully eliminated by this weekend. Um, Somewhat disappointed this season with our predictions. Okay, there's been a lot of upsets. Seems like every weekend there's a team that gets upset. Be careful with that Raiders at the Houston Texans. That's one of those games where, I mean, all you need is one motivational speech from Pete Carroll. I know it's Kenny Pickett, but why do I feel like the Texans are going to let everybody down this weekend? I'm looking forward to the Texans winning. This should be a landslide game for the Texans, but again, these are the games that ruin sports bettors. Um, and then speaking of that, guys, it's just been one of those. It's been one of those seasons where the unpredictability of these games. I just feel like we're seeing too many officials and referees getting involved in front of the camera. We're seeing a lot of officials throw yellow flags, and then they pick them up. Like there was no flag, there was no foul. I mean, if you're going to throw it, you saw something. If you're going to pick it up, then I really don't understand that. We saw a classic case of that in the Kansas City and Chargers game this past weekend, right? You saw how the Chargers were pass interference almost. I mean, there were like two or three calls that could have easily gone the Chiefs' way. Unfortunately, it didn't. Chargers managed to win that game, but I still believe the better team won. Um, but guys, it is the holiday season. I expect you guys to be safe out there. Hit that like and subscribe button for me for the 1,000th time, and also put your comments down. Amateur sports bettors like us are struggling out there. Same can be said for professional sports bettors. Please, whatever you do, do not pay for your bets. I'm pretty sure it is not working out for people like that. I mean, if you're going to pay for bets, you better hope that the guy that's taking your bet is putting it on games that he knows for sure that team's going to win that weekend. It's just been one of those bad years. Really bad beats, upsets happening all over the place. I really don't want to ramble on too much, but at the current moment, it's a funny season. Um, it's one of those seasons that's probably going to get reviewed by the NFL, possibly by the FBI. A lot of funny business going on this year in the NFL. But anyway, I thank you for tuning in. It's very important to thank my viewers because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Okay, I wouldn't have the success I'm having, if you can call it that. I still don't have the viewers that I wish I can have, like other sports shows out there and stuff. But I'm gonna pray that you know that I get those viewers down the road, and I really hope you guys really take me seriously and tune in every weekend. I do my very best. I try to give you this edge for free. That's always been my motto, as well as bet small or win big. If you're a big gambler, just be careful and good luck with that. Like I always say, if I could say it to you, it would be don't gamble at all. Really don't. And don't gamble with money you need. Gamble with money you don't need. Entertain yourself. Have fun. Pay small bills by betting small and winning big. You pay these little bills that are bothering you, right? But anyway, with that said, happy holidays to all of you. And I hope to see you next weekend. And I hope you guys tune in every weekend up to the Super Bowl. Okay, guys? So let's get this weekend. Let's see how we do for the rest of the year. So keep tuning in. Much appreciated. Yet again, hit that like and subscribe button and leave your comments below. And I'll see you guys soon.